Hello, my name is Michael and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you a set of alphabet blocks that I'm making for a craft show coming up. Just like in the Carve Words tutorial I uploaded, here are all the printouts of the letters that I'm going to be carving in. I'm going to be making these blocks out of 8/4 poplar, and there's a lot of cracking and splitting on the sides, so I'm going to be doing a combination of epoxy and just making sure that I cut off the split wood when I can. Now that the pieces are cut down to rough length and width, I'm going to go ahead and joint two of the sides to make it easy to tape off for the epoxy pour. Here you can see I've taped off any of the spots where the epoxy can leak out, so we're going to go ahead and mix up the resin and hardener, and once it's good and mixed, start pouring. Here's what it typically looks like when you're done. Go ahead and let the epoxy harden, and once it's set, you can remove the painter's tape and just do a quick pass over the jointer to remove any of the excess epoxy and reflatten that surface. At this point, we're going to plane down to the desired thickness, and whoo, look at all that dust. Square off one of the sides so you have something to put your template against that's perpendicular. At this point, you want to tape down on the corner that is jointed and squared off. You want to keep in mind that the lines on your template represent where the saw is going to cut, so it should overlap on the edges. Now I'm planning on trying to sell these at a market/craft show, so I made as many blocks as I could get out of that board. But you can save your sanity and only made one alphabet. I easily spent a good 4 to 5 hours etching and then routing out these letters. Here's a sped up version of that. And it is very rewarding to see all this after the time it took to carve all this out. What I didn't mention earlier is it's important to make sure that the thickness of the board is the same distance as the space on the template. You're going to see why that's important as I go over the steps you use to cut these out into cubes. The next step is to move all those blocks over to the table saw. This should cut right down the middle of the two letters as long as your template was set up right. My first thought was to do this last cut on the miter saw using a stop block, but honestly this was a pretty dangerous cut and your fingers are really close to the blade. It's actually much safer to use the bandsaw, even though your fingers are still pretty close. It's just a safer tool, and I recommend using a bandsaw if you have one. Just like with the etching, I went into turbo mode, putting a 16th inch round over on all of the sides. You pretty much just get into a pattern while you're doing this, and it goes fairly quickly. It took probably about an hour for all these blocks. Now that all the edges are rounded over, I took these inside to put a spray-on shellac finish. This also went fairly quickly. Here are all the blocks done, and I am happy to have another project wrapped up. Thank you for staying with me, and hope you have a good day.